Warning, this video has
opinions.
And is part 1 out of 3, watch at your own risk. Oh, bite by night. New asymmetrical game. Hooray. I want to immediately get to the point of this video, that being the structure of it. The first thing I will be talking about are the killers. Then I'll make a video about the maps and survivors since my software is bugging so hard. In my opinion, I think Enard is balanced currently. He's just barely faster than survivors, forcing you to use your map knowledge and thinking when to use abilities. When M1 ING, he lunges dealing 34 damage, re-shotting average health. Hitting an M1 will result in little inlet, while missing an M1 will result in long inlet, which is personally why I like this game so much. We'll get into detail about it later. His first ability, Wire Eyes, is an anti-loot for Enard. They deal like 8 damage and slowness upon sticking to a player. I personally think this is valid, as it encourages players to quit looking in the same spot and get their ass moving before they run into the base. If he uses the ability at a small port, then just run past him while he's doing his animation and not get in trouble with it. Now on to his second ability, the Tendrils. Enard lashes out apart his body, using them as ropes. If he hits a survivor, he pulls them towards him and is open to a combo. As you can see here, this person went in the most obvious path he could take, so I capitalized off of it to make him lose all the distance. I honestly think this is pretty fair, because you have a loud sound cue and animation line up to react. This ability mainly sticks out to me as a high risk, high reward. Because if you miss, boy, that's a lot of distance for a survivor. If you're having trouble dodging it, take sharp turns, and you shouldn't. The cooldown is super short. It'd be reasonable for it to be 14 to 17, rather than a tiny 11. As well as your 5 seconds. Finally, let's get on to the main selling point of this killer.
The Skin Stealer ability.
Once a long animation hits, a meter shows up displaying how long you can be inside the body. Then you gain access to 2 new abilities.
Stab and Explode. When using Stab, Enard lunges toward a player, and if hit, dealing a whopping 40 damage and ragdoll afterwards. I think this move is very busted. Think about it, he lunges toward a player, dealing nearly half their health. It doesn't even matter if a survivor knows who Enard is disguised as. Adding on to this, if they try to stun him, he does.
Now, how would I fix this?
Remove the lunge. If the disguised Enard has more stamina ready than the survivor, just make it so that you'll actually need to wait to use it at a good time, instead of using it willy-nilly.
Now the last thing for Enard, Explode ability. Once used, Enard stops in place for a moment and explodes, dealing 25 AoE damage. Now, this can be very good if a group of survivors are on a generator slash don't know who the killer is at the start of the game, but that's pretty much it for the positives of this ability. After getting damaged, the survivors get ragdoll, allowing for a free kill if the Enard can execute a combo. Now we're finally done with Enard. Yay. I give Enard a 6.5/10 on the fairness scale. Now on to someone that requires a bit more thought put into the game.
Jesus Christ, what were they thinking when they made this killer?
Is what I would say if they didn't nerf it to the fucking ground. But he still is a great combo killer if you know how to use him well. Since the Mimic thrives off of using a ragdolling ability then switching to strength mode, in my opinion. Bidek dinks haste and albatlechen schom. Jokes aside, let's get into how fair the Mimic is. First mode, strength. Although having no abilities, strength mode is the default mode for Mimic. Not being very fast, but hitting like a truck, strength mode is the best way to deal damage to people when they get up from ragdolling. All you have to do is predict their movement. Second mode, speed. Mimic becomes very fast and does a whopping 6 damage. Although he does unlock a crucial ability to pair with strength mode, as it ragdolls and does 25 damage. This mode can be amazing to finish off people who are low. Third mode, stealth. The ambusher mode. This mode decreases damage by 25%, but your footsteps and chase theme don't make a sound when near a survivor, as well as unlocking 2 new abilities. Gasp. The first ability for stealth is Drill Stab. Mimic performs a lunge, and upon a hit, he'll deal 25 damage and throw them in whatever he's facing, hitting other survivors and ragdolling.
Then
Continued
there's
resistance will result in disciplinary action.
Upon usage, Mimic does a pretty long animation, and once done, highlighting every survivor for a period of time. Mimic is undetectable and very fast. When you press R again while underneath, Mimic creates a nearly undodgeable shockwave, dealing 25 damage. The first bad thing about this ability is its range. Dear God, isn't the purpose of a red circle indicator to tell the player, hey, you shouldn't be in this area?
well, that doesn't really matter if it's barely reactable plus a huge AoE.
Either fix the AoE and range to make it more reactable, and maybe decrease the sound of the mimic moving in the floor. Or make this move completely a traversal move instead of dealing damage and ragdoll. I think it's enough that he's invisible, insanely fast, and sees everybody.
But Mimic isn't all sunshine and rainbows.
Mimic is the most dependent out of all the killers with the survivor team comp and overall skill. With all three of his modes giving him pretty huge debuffs, it's guaranteed that you will come across a server that is pretty sweaty to exploit these features about him. Trust me, I know how sweaty people can be in this game. But by no means does this mean that the Mimic is a bad killer. If you're in a lobby with inexperienced people, he can absolutely decimate everyone. But, you know, if the team actually has a brain, it's way more hard and actually needs a little brain power. Now, what do I give the Mimic on the fair scale? Well, since it really depends on the actual survivor composition and their skill, 6 to 8 out of 10 on the fairness scale.
Now for the last and maybe least killer. I'm not going to get into how Springtrap's abilities work, because, well, he's the starter killer and you've probably played the game, so let's immediately start pointing out the fairness about these abilities. First, Axe Throw. Honestly, I think it's pretty balanced. Only 30 damage and like a millisecond of slowness, and it mostly just punishes people who move predictably and are in a very open area. So overall, I think it's pretty fine.
This ends tonight!
How we all are remembering our early days as Springtrap. Except, maybe the hitbox can get decreased by a little bit on Axe Throw. And also fix dumb things like this that clearly went through him. The Bear Trap ability? Oh, the Bear Trap ability. 3 max Bear Traps, 15 damage, combo opener, blah blah blah, you know how they work. I have one main issue with them, the Destroy UI. If you let go of the button for a picosecond, you get punished with the possibility with being comboed. And I'm not saying, oh, how unfair. You get trapped if you let go of the F key. No. Rather, a couple times, your animation / the ghouls of hell comes up in front of the UI, therefore resetting it, furthermore making you clip into the trap and getting damaged. How would I fix this? By increasing the UI range by 2 studs so your atoms don't need to be phasing through it to interact with the trap. Onto Springtrap's second mode, the aggressive mode, as I like to call it. First, let's go over Scream. Scream is a pretty good anti-loop. It disorients people's vision, but if they have a keen ear and headphones, they can listen to where you're going. So not the best. Being the most prone to looping, surely the dev team gave him another great useful ability, right? Incorrect. Charge is the worst ability in the game by far. Don't get me wrong, you can get a pretty big chunk of people's health off them, but it's just not that good. It consumes stamina, very slow and reactable, not good to counter looping, and not worth the end lag. At least it's more fair than someone
else's.
Charge. If you're wondering why I haven't talked about looping yet for any of the killers, it's because I'm saving it for the maps section of this video. And that transitions nicely into